Well, hi there. Greetings. I can't say the gang's all here yet, but they're a coming. They're a coming. I think I'm ready to go to the beach. Be brave. Be brave. Jack Willard is my name, and having fun with you here on Worldwide Ramblings is my game. My intention. We'll have a word of encouragement from Pastor Bob Joyce himself. And I was at the Dollar Tree today and I saw this poster and I saw this. Um, be brave and go on an adventure. Be brave and go on an adventure. Don't let fear talk you out of it. Someone said, one of our friends said, even if you have to go by yourself, go. There's a lot to explore. Now, I understand sometimes circumstances make it impossible, but many of us squander time away. We squander time away. And there's a lot to see, and there's obviously um, a spiritual life to take care of. There's priorities. I'll say hello to Patrick Vilas. He was first. Hello, Jack. Brenda Noyce joins us as well. Hi, Jack. Ted Richards is here as well. And Karen Phillips. Hello, Jack and everyone. Jay Justice. Good evening, Jack and everyone. Glad you're here. Tessie's embroidery. We'll show you a picture of her promo sign. Hello, Jack and family. And wonder if Shelley will show up tonight. She usually does, Ted. She usually does. Pam Donnelly, Nonstick Pam, is here. Welcome. And starts us off with about 43 and 8 likes already. Very, very good. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Oh, there's more. Heather. Hello, Heather Feather. Hi, everybody. She sent me a nice video, but I wonder if there's a message behind us. Who's that singing that song, Heather, that you sent me? Who is that singing that song? I haven't forgotten him, of course, but who do you think it is? Made me think of that Bo Donaldson and the Haywood song, Who Do You Think You Are? And that's all I can remember. Isn't it terrible? Of course, that wasn't their biggest hit. Billy, don't be a hero. Don't be a fool with your life. I remember that one. That was their signature song, but they only had 2 hits. Used to be friends with Bo Donaldson here on the Facebook side. I don't do much on Facebook, but I do wander over there once in a while. Got to be careful about watching those reels. You can get hooked on them. You know, before you know it, you've spent 2 hours looking at reels. Too much time. Tammy Griffin is here. And Chi-Chi, good day. He's out there down under. Don't fall off. Wait a minute. You can't be under. Some people feel you can't anyway. Tisa, that's your new name, Tisa Pinnell. It's got a certain ring to it. Or Teresa Panel. She is here as well. Georgia Peach, huh? Still dreaming about those peach pies and the crumbler, huh? That must be a cobbler that's, got the crumbs all over it. Some people make a cobbler with a non-crumberly topping, top crust, and some don't. Elvis Presley loved peach cobbler, and he would ask his wonderful cook. There's a video someone sent me about her. He would ask her if she had any peach cobbler, so I bet she made sure she made it frequently. One mind, one spirit. You all You're all right, dirty slave. I'm glad I never killed you. So we got one guy we gotta watch already. Chavez. Caesar Chavez, LOL. If that's a line from a movie, I have not seen it. Nancy DeMarco is here. Hijacking family. Welcome, 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 welcome. Fancy Nancy. Deborah Smith. I love Billy Don't Be a Hero. Really? Why? I liked Who Do You Think You Are better, actually. It was a novelty song and it was a big hit at the time, wasn't it? It was a big hit. But I guess I'm drawn to love songs and songs that are, I guess I'd have to say, odd songs that, like Wicked Love by what's his name? Who does that song? Wicked Love. Oh, gee. I guess I'm not taking enough Prevagen, huh? Um, it's a real hauntingly beautiful song, though. It's not Wicked Love. It's Wicked what? What am I thinking of, Laurie Merrick? Can you tell me? Um, and Jupiter's Realm is here. At least, where am I here? I'm getting lost in space, starring Guy Williams, but Dr. Smith, Jonathan Harris, kind of stole the show there. I'm glad you're here, says Tessie, so she must be here. And also Gail George. Welcome, Gail George. Nice to have you aboard. So, how's everybody doing on this Wednesday night, the 28th of May? It's about 55 degrees right now and light rain. We've had plenty of rain to keep the grass green. I've been told it's been very hot out in the Lone Star State. Was talking to my son earlier today, and he was saying it was in the 90s and humid, and he's got to unload a truck at various locations. He drives for U.S. Foods, and he's got to work in these conditions. So it's not an easy job. The money's pretty good. Money's pretty good, but you earn it. You definitely earn your money. That's why a lot of people eventually take these long haul jobs where you're just hitching up a trailer, bringing it to a certain location, and either bobtailing back, or you're usually picking up another trailer and bringing that somewhere. Uh, you're hardly ever home, maybe once every 3 weeks, something like that. You have no life really at all. These are the guys that you see with the flannel shirts and the suspenders and the big bellies because they're always eating at Subway or Wendy's or KFC or one of the truck stop places that have their own food, which usually consists of fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, mashed potatoes and gravy, canned green beans and stuff like that, and of course biscuits. Of course, biscuits. Steady diet of that, and you'll be ready for a coronary. A coronary. Um, so, huh. Let's see here. So today was the day of, well, what do we do today? We had to go back to the place where Karen had her CAT scan yesterday because she had a folder with her MRI results. Um, and they were able to transfer that to her doctor down at Westchester Medical Center. But it slid out of her folder in the parking lot, and neither one of us noticed. We're always losing something. wanted to come up here a little earlier than I did, but I couldn't find my keys, and they were wedged in the recliner. And I always make the joke, and somebody keeps stealing my watch. That's what I remember that movie that I saw with Anthony Hopkins, where he plays. Is it just? It's got the word father in the title. Did you see this Anthony Hopkins movie? And he's slowly losing it. You know, he's slipping further and further into Alzheimer's, dementia, and he's reverting back to eventually, like being a baby. And at first, of course, he's very rebellious about having anybody care for him. He certainly doesn't want to leave his home and all that. And he fires one caretaker after another, say, she's stealing things, she's stealing things, she took my watch, she took my watch, she took this, she took that. And that's how it goes. That's how it goes. Um, but that was a really good performance from Anthony Hopkins. But when has he really given a bad performance? When you think about Silence of the Lambs, the speech that he gave to Jodie Foster, when he kind of dressed her down, talking about, you're just one generation away from cheap white trash with your cheap shoes and this, that, and the other. It was quite a speech. And she's looking at him and she's tearing up, and you think it's all in the script. And he just thought of it, probably rehearsed it in his dressing room, and he just went for it. And the director watched in amazement because he knew this wasn't part of Silence of the Lambs. And when it was time to say cut at the end, he said, "That's got to stay." That was great. And uh, Jodie Foster, who of course has always been one of my favorites, she's not doing too much acting now. She's teaching others and mentoring others. She's done directing. It doesn't seem that her films that she has been executive producer. I don't know how much writing she may have done, but those films never were some of her biggest movies. They just weren't. But she says, I've had my time in the spotlight, and now she's working with up and coming actors and things like that. And when she does a role on a film, it's usually it's a character. It's a character. It's not the lead anymore. But she is phenomenal, phenomenal. Starting with the little girl down the lane, with the little girl who lives down the lane, with Martin Sheen. First time I had ever seen Martin Sheen. Scott Jacoby. Some of you ladies that are of a certain age will remember Scott Jacoby. He had his time in the Tiger Beat and the 16 magazine and what have you. So, yeah, it was quite a compelling film, for the 70s. The only thing is back in the 70s, they would play music. The music beds were often like something from a 70s porn film. It was like really crappy stuff. Um, I am sure Todd Bradshaw, I don't know if he's here or if he's coming tonight, but I bet you Todd Bradshaw, who plays the keyboards, could have written better music than I saw in a lot of the 70s films. It really took away from the film uh, because the music was so hokey and so, um, but it was the 70s, it was the 70s. What else? We talk about people's favorite movies sometime. What's your favorite movie of all times? I'd be curious to know what your favorite movie is. Miles Wright joins us today, talking to Georgia Peach. He grew up, he says, in Rossville. What was life like in Rossville? Ted Richards says, I chuckle when I think of the Crumbler. That could have been a character in Batman, the Crumbler. Not even sure if it's a real thing or not. Georgia Peach's pie. Mm-mm-mm. Uh, that would be excellent. Now you've got me thinking of Scotty's Pies, which opened up on the weekends here at Soon's Orchard. When people leave Orange County, New York, they're they're thinking about certain places, and Soon's Orchard is one of them, and it's because of the apple cider, and it's because of the Scotties. Now, Scotties used to be inside, and you could get it all the time that Soon's Orchard was open. And then they built a stand outside, and they also do local farm markets on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But they only kind of work now from early May, and then they close up just before Christmas. I don't know how they work out there because it's not an enclosed stand. I mean, there's a nice roof and everything, but I was really surprised when they came up with a place that was open because I know people want their holiday pies, and I think right after that is when they close for the season. But they've got their turnovers, which is really a small apple pie, a square apple pie, and of course it's not that Comstock filling that you would see in some uh, grocery store. Uh, uh, you know, Places. Well, here we have Price Chopper, and we have ShopRite, and we have Hannaford, and we have Adams Fairacre Farms, and we have a few, well, more than a few now, Spanish Mexican stores, and the kind of apple turnovers you find in there are not going to be that real homemade taste like grandma would make, but when you go to Soon's and Scotty's is open, you get yourself a Scotty's pie. It goes up. God knows what it'll be this year. It'll probably be over $20 for an apple pie. If you want the best, you got to pay for it. You can get a apple pie for $6.99 at the grocery store, but it's gonna be crap. Then they got these salty chocolate chip cookies, all the stuff that well, if you just eat it in moderation, have a little bit, don't deny yourself completely, but don't have 4 or 5 cookies, don't have half the pie, that kind of thing. J-Cat is here. Hello, Jack. A little romance or a little romance. Did I see that? Who was in that? Was it Michael Douglas? He's doing Tunnel to Towers right now. There's my I Support American Heroes. That's from Tunnel to Towers. I actually called them today in Staten Island. I called them and increased my donation, my monthly donation by a few dollars. They're such a great organization, and to put a different card in there. And very nice woman that I talked to down in Staten Island. I would highly recommend. They only ask for $11 a month. That's Frank Siller, right? And now Michael Douglas is the latest celebrity to do a Tunnel to Towers spot. He's looking pretty old, Michael Douglas, in the neck, and of course the white hair, and I think he is not aging quite as gracefully as Kirk Douglas did. But everybody's different, right? His father, of course, and he's married to, of course, to Catherine Zeta-Jones, who still looks great. But women got a lot of tricks in their arsenal. They got a lot of tricks, a lot of products, a lot of procedures they can have, especially if they have the money. Hi, Kitty Hewitt. Love Me Tender by EP. Is that extended play EP? Oh, no, I know who you mean. You mean the king of rock and roll. Really, huh? Okay. Um, People definitely have their favorite Elvis movies. I can't lie and say that I do. I'm not that kind of Elvis fan. I'm more of his music and his hits, and uh, Watching him on television was always an experience. Ken Sproul, one of my favorite movies, is Bandits with Bruce Willis and Billy Bob Thornton. Well, if those two are in it, I mean, they're both phenomenal actors. Um, it was, well, we first saw, my nose is so itchy right now. Excuse me. It's just itchy. I'm not telling a lie. I tell you no lies. I certainly try not to. Um, First time, of course, I think most of us saw Bruce Willis was in Moonlighting, right? The TV show that made him a big star before he even went to the movies. It opened the door for a movie career. I think in terms of Bruce Willis, it's hard to beat The Sixth Sense. I think that was just about my favorite. Um, he he got word that this low budget film wanted him to star in it, and they gave him a script, and he read it, and he said, "This is really good." Now, this is an actor at this point that's commanding millions per film, 10, $15 million a film, and they're probably offering to pay him something like they're saying we just don't have the money to pay you, you know. Would you do it for $100,000 or something like that, you know? And he said, "Well, I'll tell you what. I'll do it for nothing and I'll take a percentage. I'll take a percentage." Do you have any idea how much Bruce Willis made on The Sixth Sense by taking a small percentage? It was a lot of money. It was a lot of money. Good business decision. Good business decision for Bruce Willis. Hello, Mike. Hi, Jack. Looking very Hawaiian, psychedelic today, huh? Yeah. And Deborah Smith, Elvis Presley, Pastor Bob Joyce. Well, some people don't want you putting those two names in the same sentence, Deborah. You know, it's a good thing we're not in North Korea. Um, but we don't censor that or yell at you here for that. We've been talking about this topic for a long time. I speak of possibilities. I could be wrong about the whole thing. That's all we're doing. And um, that's why there's a freedom of choice to watch whatever you want, and to disagree. As Rob Snyder said when somebody interrupted him during uh, his comedy show, he said, "Oh, what are you mad?" You see, the great thing about free speech is it protects not just what you like, but what the other person likes. Um, and you're more than welcome to sell out a comedy club like I just did and present your own material, you know? Um, it's always nice if you can find camaraderie or what have you. And uh, heck, we live in a time where there's all kinds of, I believe we live in the last days. So, as much as I love doing the Bob Joyce topic because it's your favorite topic, and you certainly let me know that over and over again, and I enjoy it, and there's a lot of twists and turns, and there's so many things to consider. Some people won't want to consider any of that, and I totally understand that. That's your right. That's your right. Um, but but I don't want to become obsessed with this topic. There's much more important things to consider. Pastor Bob Joyce would not want anybody to be focused on him. He would want people to to hear the Word of God that that I believe the Holy Spirit Himself gives him. So let's listen to some encouragement from this past Sunday from Pastor Bob Joyce. Won't keep you waiting any longer for that from his sermon.
Every one of us has that within us. But sometimes we are so bound by how we think and the way we've been taught, the way we've been raised, and the way that things are. But remember, you're not coming to man, you're coming to God. Yeah, that's right. Amen. You're not coming to please other people and what they might think of what you're doing or what you're saying. You're coming because Jesus is there and He understands you better than anybody else. He knows why you're crying, and He doesn't mind. He sees deep down inside of you, and He sees the reason for your tears. He understands your attitude. He understands what you're thinking inside of you and how you abhor yourself. And He's saying, now you begin to see. Now you begin to understand. You need the Savior. If people don't realize their sinfulness, they will not realize that they need a Savior. Amen. If you don't see your own faults, you're not going to see that you need somebody to help you. I believe that's the reason why this woman was weeping. She knew what kind of person she was. Yes.
Pastor Bob Joyce from his sermon this past Sunday, May 25th. When Jesus is there is the name of the sermon. When Jesus is there. Household of Faith in Benton, Arkansas. So many of the viewers here have been and have shared their experience. So that's why he is there. And when I was doing the promo for this show and we were talking about Pastor Bob at the Horner Hall Theater, I didn't finish um, the most important line in what he was saying when he said something like, you don't need Paul, you don't need Cyprus, you don't need Simon, you don't need Bob Joyce, and you don't need Elvis. You need Jesus. You need Jesus. There it is. No entertainer, as much as we may like them, should envelop our mind to such a point that that we forget that the most important thing is to keep our eye on eternity, which is a lot longer than this time we have here, and searching and seeking for Jesus, first receiving Him into our heart. And that is the real struggle. That is the real battle. And it amazes me that I can be in the fourth quarter of my life. I'm not middle-aged. I mean, you got people 60 years old saying, I'm middle-aged. They feel they're going to live to 120, I guess, you know? I'm 55 and I'm middle-aged. Oh, you're going to live to 110. Well, I don't think so. I don't think so. It's not likely anyway. So it amazes me, even in the fourth quarter of my life, I can be so easily called away from one thing or another. That's why we need a savior. That's why we need to actually seek God and His power and His understanding. because in and of ourselves, we'll never get there. Um, you want to be on the road to being a better person. You want to be on the road to doing that. Ah, Colby Woodard is here. Dr. Woodard, as I like to call him. Keep our eyes on Jesus. Um, it's a it's a thing people say, but most people have a really hard time doing that. Um, that's why Paul said, "The things I want to do, I don't do. These things that I hate, I find myself doing." So we're always having to remind ourselves, and you have to surround yourself with holy things that will refocus you, turn you around. Deborah Smith. Yes, he was in Hot Springs at the convention center. Well, it was the Horner Hall Theater. And when he said those things, Jack, when he said those things, what was the Horner Hall Theater, which was nearby, right? Um, about 1,000 seats. And um, I saw the service, of course, via video, and he was terrific. It was a wonderful praise time. And on the 17th of October, he'll be at the Bank OZK Arena for George Magazine Live 2025 on Sunday, 10 a.m. Central Time for the service. It'll be followed by an altar call. He'll need people to help him with that. There'll be a lot of people there. It's not the time for a chit-chatty moment, not there. And there'll be too many people. So if you want the other experience, you're going to have to go to the church. You're going to have to go to the church. Get there nice and early, too. It's my recommendation. Good evening, Todd Bradshaw. How are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Todd is the Tennessee Titan from the place. For some reason, I can never remember Sale something, but there he is, Todd Bradshaw. The Grand Poobah joins us. The Grand Poobah. Welcome, 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 Todd Bradshaw. And Faith Lloyd. And that brings us up to 87 people watching right now. 48 likes. 48 likes. Pastor Bob Joyce is an encourager. He's an encourager, and he does that very well. He does. You do notice the breathing as people talk about. Heavy breathing, because he's not a quiet preacher. He's not like Charles Stanley was. He's closer to R.W. Shambach. He's closer to T.D. Jakes, I suppose. Is he retired now? I think there was some controversy there. And of course, there is the pastor Robert, trying to think of his last name, who was arrested. And that's going to be going to trial soon. What the heck is his name? I hate when that happens. Tim Spencer. Hi, Jack. Well, hi, Tim. Welcome to you. How you doing? Where are you from, Tim? You might have told me before. Morris, thank you. Thank you, Heather. You know your stuff, Robert Morris. I used to watch him from time to time. I thought he was a fairly competent preacher. And then he grew the Gateway Church, right? Gateway Church into a mega church. They were paying him a lot of money. He wants like $1 million in retirement benefits to walk away. He wants benefits that will continue when he's gone for his wife as well. But of course, when you leave the church in disgrace, and you may be going to jail, because it involved a girl when he was a traveling preacher. Sometimes he would go and stay with his family without his wife. Other times he would have his wife with him, but mostly he would be by himself, and he became a trusted member of the family. And one Christmas Eve, he called the 12-year-old daughter into his room, and that was the start of a 4-year relationship. And she never said anything about it and never said anything for decades, but it all came out in recent times. And so he was arrested and then released on his own. No, he posted bail. He had to post bail, and he had it to post. So we'll see how that pans out. But there's been so much controversy with the big name preachers like that, whether it be Rod Parsley, Ken Copeland, all people that I've seen. I was never a big fan of either one of those gentlemen. I can't tell you that I was never blessed by T.D. Jakes, because I was, but I always felt there was something just not right as well. You're in North Carolina. Glad to be here. I'm glad you're here too, Tim. We played a little word of encouragement from Pastor Bob Joyce from this past Sunday. And yes, George Magazine Live now. We talked about that in our promo, so find out all about that, and then go to georgemagazine.com. That's really all you need, georgemagazine.com, and you'll find the big live event that's coming August 15th, 16th, and 17th. Pastor Bob will be there on Sunday at the Bank OZK Arena, and that's all free. There'll be thousands of seats. Doesn't mean they couldn't fill it and run out. Those that have VIP tickets for the Friday and Saturday event, and those that just bought tickets, I think it's like $99 right now as I speak to you, $99 for the Saturday event. That doesn't include the after party. You got to be a VIP for the welcome party and the after party. Those tickets are on sale. So when you go to georgemagazine.com, you'll see how to purchase your tickets. They have recommended places to stay. In terms of travel, I guess you're pretty much on your own. Book your flight or whatever, and or drive. We talked about some of the people that were going to be there at George Magazine. Now, I'm not a boxing fan per se, like President Trump is, or a wrestling fan per se, like President Trump is, but I was very impressed by Kenzie Morrison. He's a heavyweight boxer. I bet you he's going to be a pretty good speaker, because he's got a really friendly, engaging persona, and the ladies will love him because he's a good-looking chap. And also there'll be her name is Tori, Tory Delury, Delury. You can find her right here at YouTube. She travels in a van. There's a number of people that do this. A few people do it in their cars. Some have very well-equipped vans. Her van is not so well-equipped, although it is new. She doesn't have a kitchen or shower in there or anything like that. Usually that means you're either going to a truck stop to shower or you're going to Planet Fitness. Most of the people that live in their cars and their vans, and these people always intrigue me, have a membership to Planet Fitness, or the YMCA. The YMCA would be another one. So she'll be talking about her life experiences. And Jacob Flores from American Idol will sing. I know he's going to do a full concert, I believe, for the after party on Saturday night, a full concert. I don't know if Pastor Bob will show up at all on Friday or Saturday. I don't know that he will at the dinners or anything like that. I don't have any idea on that, and things can change at the last minute regarding something like that. Richie Minervini will be there with comedy once again. Doni Clement will be there. She's the daughter of Kim Clement, who was one of the prophets that you would often see on the Trinity Broadcasting Network. He was a compelling speaker. He did predict the presidency of Donald Trump in the 90s. He did. And that's something. And he predicted 2 terms. 2 terms. I don't see any way you could, and you can find that right here on YouTube. I don't see any way you could see that prophecy as he originally did it and not come to the conclusion that he was talking about Donald Trump. He didn't say Donald, but he talked about the trumpets and what have you. And then he went further and he let you know that he was talking about Trump being a 2-term president. So his daughter, Dona Clement, will be there. He passed away of a kind of a sudden illness, I guess, back in the day. And other people, including the former lieutenant governor of the state of South Carolina, Andy Bauer, right? Andy Bauer. I always thought he would have been a great governor, better than Nikki Haley. Not much of a Nikki Haley fan anymore, not even a little bit. I think she's probably thinking about running. I learned today by watching Ron DeSantis's reaction to the big beautiful bill that Ron DeSantis is going to run for president. I could just tell. I could just tell because he was criticizing it and what have you. And well, of course, even Elon Musk was saying, well, he said it in a jovial way. You can have a big bill and you can have a beautiful bill, but I'm not sure you can have both in this instance. He simply feels that it doesn't cut enough. You know, we are trillions of dollars in debt. So far, Doge has cut billions of dollars, many billions of dollars from the budget. There's some controversy in some of the things they've cut, of course, but a trillion or even 2 trillion, long way off, long way off. So Rand Paul, for example, is not on board with the big beautiful bill, and a few other senators, and of course even Republican congressmen, but they had enough to pass the bill in the House, and it will probably pass in the Senate, but they're going to tweak it. And there's a few things I want to see gone from there. So we'll see what happens with that. No president gets everything they want. No president is right all the time, but I am Team Trump. I've made no secret of that. I am Team Trump all the way. He prophesized a lot of stuff that came to fruition, says Tammy Griffin. I do remember him being special. That's all I can say. I'm very leery about those who call themselves prophetess as well. But I'm also very careful in not really talking about it because you run the risk of blaspheming the Holy Spirit. I think it's fair that if someone is giving prophecies on a regular basis, that somebody needs to be having a journal and writing all these things down and see how many things do come to fruition and what have you. And I have said before, and I still feel this conviction, the Holy Spirit, it is my understanding, speaks when he wants to. He does not adapt to someone's broadcast schedule. You know, I I I have a problem with that, but at the same point, I leave it at the cross, I leave it with Jesus, I leave it with the Holy Spirit. I'm not making any judgments, I'm not God, thank God I don't have to. I can't look at the heart. God can look at the heart, and, so I'll leave it there. Heather, Elvis was already supposedly dead when it was told he was actually short. Okay. Jupiter's realm. Who are we talking about? I had to refresh. Well, I think I'm talking about Kim Clement, who was on the Trinity Broadcasting a lot. You can find a lot of Kim Clement right here at YouTube, who prophesized the Trump presidency. He got that right, and that there would be two terms, which people knew about that, so they were very excited because they knew. They were, of course, very saddened when he did not assume a second term in 2020. Imagine if he had. The entire Ukraine war would have never happened, at least not then. It took somebody like Joe Biden to make Putin feel like if I don't do it now, there'll never be a more perfect time. This guy doesn't even know where he is. Sorry for there's a few Biden fans here. I don't mean to every week offend you. I'm just saying, in relation to the Trump presidency, Kim Clement in the 90s um, predicted a two-term presidency of Donald Trump when nobody. That's why CNN put him on so much in 2015 because they saw what a rating spike he gave them. And they thought, well, this guy's never going to be president. They helped him become president. It's just a comical thing. And then, of course, he started calling them fake news based on their coverage and what have you. And he basically, um, it's like he set a trap, and these people, one after another, lined up and threw away their reputation, just threw away their entire reputation. Forgot journalism 101, forgot the things that they would have been taught in the first week of journalism school, college, whatever. They threw away those principles, and from Wolf Blitzer on down, destroyed their own reputations. And it's so comical now to see people like Jake Tapper falling on his sword, saying, well, they fooled us. It was your job, and you knew you had to know, Jake. I don't think you were that bad of a reporter. But when someone would come on, like Lara Trump or whatever, and try to say that the president, the 46th president, was in cognitive decline, and he would shut them down. He would just shut them down. And eventually, Trump derangement syndrome would become a real disease in the United States of America. Trump derangement syndrome. And it still flourishes today. They have no plan, and all of the old school Democrats now are warning that we are never going to see another Democratic president. It gets worse every day, the approval rating, when all you want to say is that everybody who believes in Trump and believes in American values and doesn't believe that women's sports and women's rights should be thrown away. So 1% of the population can compete and win. They were talking about one particular sport where this guy came in. He was terrible. He came in. It was a big race. It must have been a marathon where there are hundreds and hundreds of people in it. I would assume it would have had to have been a marathon. He came in number 357. He transitioned and he won. He won. What more do you have to know? What more do you have to know? 84 watching, 54 likes. Please hit the subscribe button, the like button, and the notification bell. Deborah Smith is saying good night, maybe because we got into politics. I can't just do Bob Joyce, though. I can't just do Bob Joyce. One of the things is that we're living in a very interesting time. And believe me, I know that when I do standalone political videos like my Homage to Rush Limbaugh series, we use the Rush Limbaugh theme, which took away monetization right there. They let me use it, but I couldn't monetize those videos. So I knew that I was doing this just to get the word out, my take on things. But uh, I. I understand that it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. And by the way, when I say in the title, your topics, feel free to bring them. What other things would you like to talk about? Because we'd like to explore that. That's We often talk about food. We talk about movies, people's favorite actors, and things like that. We talk about obviously the weather. We talk about our medical ailments. That's a biggie. Um, why don't we talk about Harry and Meghan? Well, give us an update, Pam. You're probably more up to date on um, the latest information. Are they going to get a divorce? I don't really care, but some people do. Um, I think that King Charles won't be assuming the throne for long. I don't think he will be. I think it'll be King William before too long. Sharon, I've seen you before. Von Willer. Shelley 3, is he going by Bob Joyce? What is it, Sia or something? You never know. Here's Shelley 3 right here. Yes, Sharon Von Willer. Von Willer. She does love to use many names, and it has a blue check mark beside his name. Oh, I see you were asking, Shelley. I got it now. A blue check mark, and what does a blue check mark mean? I don't even know. I don't even know. What does that indicate? School me. School me. Let's go to ba 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 bum bum. I don't even get that sound anymore on my email. Huh. Let's see here. Cash App, Elaine Peterson. Oh, well, thank you so much, Elaine Peterson. Once again, she has hit the Cash App, this time for $17. $17 on the tip jar. And I appreciate that so much, Elaine. Cash App, if you have it on your phone and you want to use that for 99 cents to any amount that's on your heart, that's within your budget. Never go beyond your budget. My Cash App handle, lowercase letters, is Media Guy 56, MEDIAGUY 56. Media Guy 56, or you can hit the thanks button down there. I do get more of it when you hit the Cash App. I do, but I'm thankful for both. Very thankful for both. We heard from Heather, and I'm curious, Heather, about uh, who you feel is singing that song. Who do you feel the name is? Of course, I'm talking about the real name of who's singing that song. Heard from a lot of people here, including Neo Neon. Neo Neon has been checking in terms of the documentary concerning Pastor Bob Joyce. I'm not just saying I did a Google search and found it somewhere or something like that. I'm referring to sources, more than one. So when I put up a video that says Bob Joyce documentary Verified, I'm pretty sure it's going to happen because you got to have multiple sources. That's what you got to have. If you just got one and you don't know that one source well enough, but then you get a much more reliable source, one that is, I don't know if I want to say inner circle, but someone that's really close. And I'm not talking about Gene Ho. Um, I'm not talking about Gene Ho, just to make it clear. So then you roll with it. But you don't have to believe me. And who knows how long it'll take to get, filming is one thing, post production is another thing, and then getting it actually sold and put out um, is another story. It's a process. It's a process. Jackie Organ, Jack, what time is it there? Well, it's coming up on 11 p.m. East Coast time here in the Empire State of New York. It's Thursday afternoon. Yeah, you're in Aussie land. 1 p.m. in Australia. And yeah, our time slot seems to work out very good for Australia, not so much for the UK. So I did a pop on to pop off on Memorial Day at 1 o'clock East Coast time, which would have been good for the UK time slot. It would have been the evening, early evening there, and we really didn't we didn't get much. But people. Well, I don't know. In the UK, they don't have Memorial Day on the day we have. Do they have a day where they commemorate the soldiers that have served their country? Do they? There? What do they call it? I know that Canada has Thanksgiving, but they have it on a different day, right, Shelley? And um, do you have Boxing Day? Is that a day where everybody opens presents? Is that in Canada? I sometimes confuse countries, so don't mind me. No, I only have one name. Blue check mark supposed to be verified him. Okay. Who verified him? Not me, that's for sure. Christaria is talking about soon we'll be at the 50-year mark and there'll be information released. Some people say it'll be information that we already know, that there won't be any, big news flashes there. Boxing Day, yes. I thought that was the day you opened up presents. Or you're saying it's the day it's go shopping, like our Black Friday? Is that what you're saying? Here is Southern Grits. How you doing? AKA Patricia. You like grits, do you? I used to have them when I went to Shoney's back in our old days. This goes back to the time my kids were young, my first wife. And we would be going down to Disney World. And we would definitely stop at Shoney's for the breakfast buffet. And they had grits there. Always reminded me of cream of wheat, but not sweet. Well, cream of wheat is only sweet if you put something in it, which I always did. I was listening to Canada just now about the Iron Dome. Yes, the Iron Dome, and going on it. Well, you heard what President Trump said. He said if because Canada has an interest if we build this Iron Dome like they have in Israel. Um, Canada would like to be part of that. They would like to have the Iron Dome too. And Trump said, "Well, it'll be about $1.6 billion, or if you become our 51st state, it'll be free." And somebody said, if it wasn't the president himself, they're considering it. They're considering it. We'll see what happens there. Are you ready to be the 51st state? um, Greenland may beat you to it. I don't think they want that either. But there are a lot of benefits in to Canada and Greenland as well. Jupiter's Realm. I think this Bob Joyce Elvis story is bound to come out. and that is them controlling that. What is, you got to be specific about exactly what you're reacting to, because you may have a good point and I won't fully get it, you know. Um, what do you think is a good example of Jupiter's realm of them trying to control the narrative? What's a good example? King Charles is in Canada talking about it. King Charles is. See, I didn't see that on Jesse Waters. Well, I didn't see Jesse tonight. No, we didn't see Jesse tonight like we usually do. We saw some of, oh, I know what it was. Karen was watching her Suzanne Summers thing. Of course, Suzanne has passed away. It's been over a year now, but her family runs the Suzanne Summers company. Here's the body lotion. Sometimes Karen, when she, you know, buys some new Suzanne Summers, she gives me half of a bottle of something. She knows I like the lotions. Smells like St. Joseph's children's aspirin, those orange aspirin that you crush them up, sort of smells like that. From right there. Yeah. But you see, these things don't stay on your skin long. I mean, I'm talking about any brand. Um, Old Spice cologne used to stay on your skin. English leather, remember, guys? English leather kind of did. Um, and peppermint oil. Oh yeah, you spray some peppermint oil on your carpet. You'll come back 2 days later, and you'll still smell that peppermint. I love the smell of peppermint. That's the other. This she bought me for Christmas. Suzanne Organics body butter, peppermint cream. Peppermint cream. They're not too expensive, but they're not. They're not. This is not $10. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'll just put it right. I'll put rap news. I can just smell it the whole show. I'll look stupid, but I love the smell of peppermint, and I love the smell of. Well, I've got several favorites. Hmm, quite nice. I'll tell you, her widowed husband, Alan Hamill, is dating. He's finally admitted that he's dating. He's been dating for a while, I think, and his daughter's very concerned about this. For a while he was dating Dick Clark's widow, and she was fine with that because she knows Dick Clark's widow has plenty of money, but she don't want to see some uh, Susie Q. Are you here, Susie Q? She want to see some blonde 28-year-old Susie Q coming in to date 88-year-old her 88-year-old father, because she knows what that's about. She knows what that's about. But I'll tell you, he looks great. He looks great for his age. He has a trainer. He has testosterone shots, and you know, a lot of medical care. And he comes on either wearing shorts or he's got a shirt that's buttoned down practically to his belly button, and then but the censor is going a little bit, and he'll start launching into a story, and his granddaughters are trying to refocus him and bring him back. He could talk for 2 hours once he gets going. He was a legend in Canada. Shelley, he had his own show, the Alan Hamill Show, in Canada. Here in the States, we knew him doing his commercial endorsements for Alpha Beta supermarkets on the West Coast and Acme supermarkets on the East Coast, and a lot of other things. Yeah, English leather was good. Jody Smith hits the thanks button. Thank you so much, Jody. We're working on our goal now for the third week in June, and just had to shell out $127 as the copay for Karen's CT scan. I mean, she couldn't have been in there. I tell you, we got there early, and by the time we left, still wasn't her appointment time. It was just in and out. she goes over and sits down, and at a certain point, she's going to signal to me, and I come up and say, "Must be time for the money, man." And I hand them my card, and $127 for that. And you know, uh, in terms of my medical insurance, used to have 0 copays. That's what it was like working for the city of New York. You retire from the city of New York and you had stellar insurance, and it's not so stellar anymore. It's still good, the medical insurance, but everything, every test, every doctor I see is $15. I know many of you with a Medicare Advantage plan are paying $45 to see a specialist. They want you to have a MRI, and the copay is 300 and some dollars for that. Um, and you hope that they bill it and don't ask for it right away. But if you go to the hospital, they'll always want it right away. That's the difference. That's the difference. See what you learn here? But yeah, yeah. So, um, and then the dental now is not quite as good as it used to be. But the prescription drug plan for the city is no longer stellar. So I'm waiting to see what they're going to say the copay is for my Camzyos, which I use for cardiomyopathy. There's no alternate drug. They can't say, well, look for an alternate. There's no alternate. It came out in 2022, and it's a very effective drug for cardiomyopathy, which deals with the function of the blood flow getting into the heart. Plus, I have an aneurysm on my heart, not the kind that can burst and instantly kill me, but a small aneurysm, a different kind of aneurysm, and it's made it smaller. It's made the blood flow better. And so I don't want to go off this drug. There's no side effects. I can't say I should really seek them to do a commercial endorsement for Camzyos. Maybe that would give me a free. That could be part of it, because it's very expensive. It's very expensive. So right now my copay is like $15. If it goes up to $600, anything higher than 100, and come on. Ay, ay, ay. And cardiomyopathy is one of those things that is usually uh, uh, something that you inherit. My father probably had it, but they didn't even know what it was then. He died of a heart attack. So he died at age 67 of a heart attack. I've outlived him now, as I'm 69, be 70 the first full day of spring in 2026. I can't believe it myself. Rocky Mountain Red Wing. What about you? What's your age, rank, and serial number? Huh? Thanks for sharing about Jesus. Well, we'll always close with scripture, and we'll have prayer often, because we know Chris Starry. We have to keep her in prayer, and Brenda Noyce and others here as well. Saw where Dick Van Dyke turned 100. That's right, Jane. And he looks like Dick Van Dyke. Isn't that great? Did you see the picture, Jane, of him with Carol Burnett? She's in her 90s, 91, 92. And to see them together, and, she still looks very much like Carol Burnett, and he still looks like Dick Van Dyke with a beard at 100 years old. Doesn't seem to have cognitive decline. He uses a walking stick now and what have you, but always loved him. He was starring when I don't know if it was when I lived in California. The last time I took my Hollywood trip, I decided I was going to stay for a year, and I would either after a year decide that I had enough and I'm not coming back, unless it's like for a little vacation or something, which we actually did in 1998 in my first marriage. And of course, it would have been my first marriage with the children and the Leopoldo family. But I stayed for a year, and that might have been the time that Dick Van Dyke was at the Pantages Theater on Hollywood Boulevard, starring in The Music Man, and he had an evening performance. But I was walking by at the theater. I'm sorry I didn't see the performance. Money was tight then too, for a young lad who had ran away to California again. And there was a kind of a hot dog bodega, not bodega, hot dog Mexican stand very close to that theater. And as I was passing by, I look over, and there is Dick Van Dyke sitting there with two hot dogs with mustard and relish. And he was eating one of the hot dogs, and he seemed to be enjoying it really. And I said, I'm not going to bother him. He's enjoying his lunch. I'm just going to say, there he is. It was wonderful to see him and continue on. But that was nice to see Dick Van Dyke that one time. Huh. You never know who you were going to see. I told you about that. You never know who you were going to see walking Hollywood Boulevard or what have you. Muhammad Ali, who purposely had his driver stop his beautiful two-tone Rolls Royce. It was like chocolate brown and tan convertible. And he just had the driver just park there on Vine Street, real close to Hollywood Boulevard. And then Muhammad Ali climbed up on the back of the car and just sat there. The driver is also his bodyguard, and he gets out, and here cars are stopping. People are parking their trucks in the middle of the street, just leaving it, and all coming around to the Rolls Royce, including the pretty women. And the driver just said, yeah, it's just another day for me. In other words, Muhammad Ali loved the adulation, and he wanted to just have the fans come over, and he would sign autographs. And believe it or not, the pretty blonde girl that was on the scene drove off with him and the driver bodyguard that day. True story. True story. Huh. Jane Justice loved him with Mary Tyler Moore, right? Oh, two legends together. Two legends together. They played off each other so well, and it set her up for a career in both, of course, in the Mary Tyler Moore Show, which was also phenomenal, and then movies like, what was it, Ordinary People, with Timothy Hutton playing her son, her older son. She favored the younger son. She was a cold fish to Timothy Hutton. Remember how good that movie was if you saw it? And we couldn't ever figure out what was her problem with her older son. And it was just a simple fact. She didn't love him. She didn't love him. It was that simple. It was that simple. And what the husband says to her in his speech at the end, uh, saying, I don't even know who you are. And she just had this look, a cold stare look, like, okay, you finally found out who I am. Great performance from Mary Tyler Moore in that, but of course, Mary Tyler Moore Show, wow. And uh, her work with Dick Van Dyke, phenomenal. Did we lose the live stream? I hope not. Not according to me. You could be your personal cable service. Everybody okay with the stream? Joanne Nitzy is here. She's talking to Patricia, and Joanne needs to be on the prayer list apparently as well. See, I can miss things sometimes because I don't look at the stream all the time. Hi, Jack and everyone, says Joanne. I'm still in rehab, but might go to the hospital for a blood transfusion. I see. I've been up and down, not staying long. Miss you all. Well, I'm so glad you are here. And I hope that they nail this problem. I hope they nail this problem. We have to remember Joanne, put you down on the prayer list as well. Any other prayer request? I have pen in hand. Rest in peace, Rick Derringer, rock and roll hoochie coo, who we lost a few days ago. Rick Derringer, I think he was born in 1947, so he wasn't that old of a man, but he is gone. Another one. I think that was basically his, oh, I know it was his biggest hit. I don't remember if he was ever in a band or what have you. You can, Shelley 3. You can be on the prayer list. Yeah, she had a beautiful smile, and she dealt with serious diabetes a good part of her adult life, and she lived a pretty ripe age considering how serious her condition was. Elaine Peterson, please pray for me. I have arthritis pretty bad. Don't we all as we get older, right? I have arthritis, but it's not too bad, I have to say. Um, if I exercise, it gets better. Absolutely. Jane Justice is talking about the MTM show was on and it only showed her beautiful legs. No, I don't remember that. I don't remember that one. Anybody else remember? Yeah, it's your phone, Covey. I told you to get a new phone, but you wouldn't do it. I forget some people watch on their phones. I don't know why I assume everybody's watching on a desktop. Yeah, he was one of the first people in TV to do those pratfalls and what have you. Um, but yet he was careful how he did them. Um, Jerry Lewis was not careful with how he did them and ended up in tremendous pain in his later years because of all the pratfalls in those Dean Martin, Jerry Lewis films. Um, I remember Michael Richards talking about also knows how to do physical comedy that we saw on Seinfeld. He was so wonderful, and he was being interviewed for his book. It's been out a while now. I'm sure it's a very good book. By the way, Michael Richards is going to do a sitcom with Roseanne Barr, a not politically correct sitcom. I'm hearing about this. That sounds wonderful. Michael Richards from Seinfeld. And we we don't have to tell you who Roseanne Barr is, I'm pretty sure. So that sounds like that'll be great. That would be wonderful. I like to see Michael Richards again, but he did a lot of physical comedy. There was some little guy that would beat him up and he would have to take falls and what have you. But he told the interview, I was well padded. Really? Yeah, he says, I had on a lot of padding and things like that. He wasn't going to get injured taking a fall if he could help it. But what a magical show that was. Um, Jerry Seinfeld, a genius, but he knew that there were better performers. I'm talking about actors. He's a great stand-up comic, but he knew the people surrounding him were all better actors than he. So he made sure he got their due. He gives a lot of kudos to Jason Alexander. They were going crazy trying to find the somebody that could play George Costanza. They just couldn't find um, the right guy. And then somebody showed them a tape of Jason Alexander, and they said, "There he is. That's him." They knew right within 2 minutes. They knew it was him. They looked at a lot of actors. Julia Louis Dreyfus. What can we say? Just completely adorable. Completely a comic. Her comic timing was incredible. And of course, she knew how to bring a script alive. She knew how to bring it alive. Michael Richards And of course, our friend that did the Jurassic Park movies, he was eaten by a dinosaur. Newman. Um, what's his name? Great actor. Great actor. I'm a United uh, Postal Service worker. That's what I do. Well, why aren't you working? Well, it's raining. I always call in sick when it's raining. Um, Rocky Mountain Red Wing says he was doing magic tricks for some kids and no one seemed to recognize him. Who's that now? Who is that? Jack, we have both public and private hospitals here in Australia. Well, we have Catholic hospitals here. So I guess you would consider certainly St. Jude's as a private hospital founded by Danny Thomas and well funded by big organizations and everyday folk that send $15 a month or what have you. But I know what you're saying. You have more options. You feel right. Would you say the healthcare is good in Australia? Um, some people say like Shelley 3 can talk about this. You're Shelley 3 now. Um, there can be long waiting lists to see certain doctors, especially specialists, when it's socialized medicine. Yes, no, maybe. And of course, they say that about the Veterans Hospital. I think that's got certainly improved under President Trump. And I know that we have good people in the cabinet that are looking at that. I'm trying to think who the Veterans Secretary is. And at the moment, I'm not sure which one. Well, Colby, you'll be interested to know that I thought you were a guy. And now, if you look like Pia Sedora, I'm guessing you are not a guy. Pia Sedora. Funny, from Pia Sedora to Roseanne Barr. Well, Roseanne Barr is like a chameleon. She's always changing her look, She's always changing her look. She's lost a lot of weight. And she she had a very bad experience at the end of the Roseanne show. Nobody stood up for her. What's her name? Sarah Gilbert went out of her way to make sure she got fired. That's what Roseanne says. I wasn't there. That's what Roseanne says. And so they, of course, she was asked straight out, well, did John Goodman stand up for you? Because that's the one that would have had to stand up for her, and said, no. As far as I know, he never said a thing, never supported me in any way. That was sad to hear. John Goodman is one of my favorite actors. He can play anything, but, he's getting on in years now. I think he's doing something new. Is he doing something new on TV, John Goodman? And don't think that he's his movie career is done if he wants to do a role, because he's such a great character actor, John Goodman. He plays a great drug pusher. He plays a great what was the movie there where he's having Denzel Washington, Flight. John Goodman is great in that movie. Absolutely great, as was, of course, Denzel Washington himself. Put your dog and your friend or your partner in the trunk of the car. Shelley forgot her medication again. I can tell now. The dog is happy to see you when you open the trunk. There's truth in that. Yes. Your friend, your partner, not so happy to see you. So true unconditional love expressed by a dog. And I can't say that's not true, but I'm more of a cat person. Cat, hey. Our cat Willie Loomis, named after a beloved character on Dark Shadows, of course, Willie Loomis is, he never goes after the bird, but he wants to go out, and we're having a hard time. He has gotten out a number of times, but always comes back. You can't chase him because he'll just keep going a little further and a little further. You got to stand on the porch, the back porch, and rattle the food dish, and eventually he will come in. We're so afraid he'll go towards the front. We live on a busy street, and we're so afraid of that. But he just wants to be outside some of the time. And so we actually bought him, and we still haven't used it, a cat leash. He's not going to like it. I already know he's not going to like it. But we're going to try that real soon. Again, when he goes out, he's got stuff to do. He's got a crush on, we feed a number of feral cats. One of them is Suki, also named after a character on Dark Shadows who was only in like 3 episodes, the ones we happen to be watching right now. Suki Forbes. Suki Forbes is a black cat with the most beautiful green eyes, and she just had kittens that we haven't met yet. We think she had them in the barn. We think that's where they are. And sure enough, when Willie Loomis, who's got a crush on Suki, because after she eats, she comes and puts her face in the glass. A few times, Karen has opened the door just a little bit, and they kind of like touch noses. It's real cute. So, so you're a woman, Covey. Why did I assume that you were a guy? I've never known another Covey, to be honest with you. I don't think, as a first name anyway. What happened to your eyes, Jack? My first time here, you said I was a very pretty lady. Oh, well, it's such a little picture, see? Say, did you send me an email? Did you send me pictures in an email? That would be better. So I'd get a better look at you because, you know, these glasses that I picked, I don't think I made a good choice when they were you go to I went to Cohen's Optical and they're going through, is this good? Is this clear at the end with the optometrist? Is this clear? Or is this clear? I think I made the wrong choice. So the glasses that I have are not the best. They're not the best. They're certainly not reading glasses. I could go to the Dollar Tree and get a $1.25 pair of glasses that would be better for that. But from what I can see of you, Covey, you look very nice. You're just a tiny dot, but I can see you very nice. I asked Pastor Bob to pray for me. All my pain was gone for 3 days. I didn't know that you were at Household of Faith. Amazing. Pastor Bob is special. Well, obviously he is special. You probably have told me that, and I just forgot it. You know my mind, Shelley. It's like a sieve sometimes, especially if it's recent stuff. Would you like to know about 1962? I'll tell you all about it. I'd have to think about it, but I think that's when I was in kindergarten. Or maybe first grade. First grade. Yeah. Okay. You've never been a guy. Never? All right. Have you ever everything I'm thinking of saying, I'm going to edit myself. Jane Justice. I have to see an orthopedic surgeon next week. I really want to put off hip replacement until the fall. I hope I can. Yeah, nobody wants to do it in the summer. Karen's the same way. So anyway, we got the CAT scan done and they faxed it right over. And then this morning she gets a call. I'm still sleeping, and she knows I got an appointment tomorrow at 1:00 with the orthopedic doctor for what's going to happen. As I assume he's going to give me some Sinbis knee injections. I had them once before. They help. His name is Dr. Hyman, and I bet you he got kidded in school for that name. They didn't even know what a hymen was, those kids, I had to ask Karen what a hymen was. Well, I didn't pay attention all the time in health class unless, well, I would have been paying attention during that part. But anyway, I didn't know what a hymen was. Us guys, we don't know. But Anyway, they said, well, now you need to do a telemed, which assuming this is where they're going to schedule the surgery. And they said they have, well, he has 1 o'clock tomorrow or he has June 19th. And I would have said, as I did say, you should have picked, you don't have to go with me to for me to get shots. Now we're going to do laundry afterwards. Really, I don't want to do too much because you're supposed to kind of rest after you have those knee injections. I said, now you're waiting to the day before your 50th class reunion on the 20th of June to set up your surgery. But there's like a few things that we have scheduled that she really wants to do or needs to do. She definitely wants to go to the class reunion, and that wouldn't get in the way at this point. He's a busy doctor. He's not available tomorrow unless it's a stat thing. If it is stat, that could change things. And then on July 19th, 20th, and 21st, 3 days in a row, very important things. One of them being something, a hearing that she needs to go with her son. She's trying to get more benefits for her son. So, Jack, please add me to the prayer list, says Georgia Peach, serious chronic pain. Do you take gabapentin? Karen takes a lot of gabapentin. And Cymbalta and other things, as Sanjay Gupta says, Dr. Sanjay Gupta. I still like him, even though he's on the Communist News Network, long-term gabapentin just is no good for you. Neurontin, long-term, you could lose a limb. There is a long wait to get help and treatment at a public hospital, but you can get in nearly straight away in a private hospital. And there goes the price, right? Yes, hospitals are good here in Aussie land. We are very lucky. Hello to Mom Mary, a cat person too. Say hello to Mom Mary. Well, yeah. Hi, Mom Mary. Welcome to Worldwide Ramblings for a Wednesday night, the 28th. You're not like the crazy cat lady with like 22 cats, are you? Do you feed the ferals? We do. Yeah, we've got, and they're all named after Dark Shadows, the original series, 1966 to 1971, available on Prime Video. Start with episode 210 or on Tubi. Start with 210 and watch to episode 1145, the last show, and then watch the beginning episode. You'll appreciate them that much more. You'll get hooked, is my prediction. Take the challenge and see if you do. As we're on our fourth go-round of this show that we didn't start watching to the pandemic in 2020. So on the 19th of July, we're going up to Tarrytown, New York, and we're going to meet people that we never thought we would meet. And I hope they show up from the Dark Shadows series, including Nancy Barrett, who played Carolyn Stoddard Collins, and David Hennessy, who's a tycoon in the country of Panama in the restaurant business. He's got his hands in several different things, and he's my age. I'm about 6 months older than him. He was the boy on Dark Shadows, and he's coming with his family to Tarrytown on July 19th and 20th. Go to the Lyndhurst Mansion site online, see if you can get yourself a ticket. There's morning and afternoons, and there's a cocktail party in the evening, which costs more money. So we're going on Saturday afternoon, the 19th. And also Donna, am I saying the name right? McKenzie, she's a Broadway legend. She was also in Dirty Dancing. She was dancing in Dirty Dancing, but she's done so much Broadway. She's 83 years old now, 82, 83 years old. And she still kind of looks like she did on Dark Shadows somewhat, Amazing. And she was most recently on Broadway in Wicked, which goes on forever. They change casts from time to time because no one wants to do 10, 15 years on Broadway in Wicked. You'd kill yourself. God, that's a tough thing doing Broadway. The big stars just do limited runs. She's not a big star, but she's a big Broadway star. So she'll come on and she'll do, maybe 3 months, 4 months, and then she'll move on. So, okay. Quit taking the gabapentin and couldn't take the other one. I also suffer from fibromyalgia. So does Karen. Yep, yep, yep. Absolutely. Carpal tunnel. She had various. What are you laughing at, Ted Richards? You've got to tell me what you're laughing at, like I'm going to get what you're laughing at. That would take me to be at like near genius level, and I'm not there. I'm just not there. I don't think that's ever going to happen. It's like me being a completely surrendered soul. I just want to do better. Just want to do better. After what the entire cast did to Roseanne, I don't watch that show. I continued to that continued without her. Right. Well, see, I was kind of a fan of the someone that came on the show later. I know her name, and I'm going to be able to say it. It's Emma, and she was on Shameless for 11 seasons. 11? Yeah, 11 seasons. And that drew me to watch her on Roseanne, and then a little bit of when John Goodman took the lead, because I wanted to see her, especially when another one of the cast members of Shameless, who played her younger brother on the show, came on for one episode. So I saw it a little bit because I was a huge Shameless fan, and let's face it. I mean, Bill Macy. How can you not watch Bill Macy, William H. Macy? A phenomenal actor who was the star of Shameless. But, they got pretty raunchy sometimes. I understand that. But the biggest star from Shameless now is, what's his name? He's on that Fox show where it's all about, he owns a deli, the whole show. What is his name? I know his name. He just won an Emmy. I think he's won more than one Emmy for playing the role on this show that's also on FX, where he's the owner of a busy, kind of like a deli, kind of like a Carnegie Deli type place. But that's the only reason I watched. It was to see Emma Kenny, who played Bill Macy's daughter on Shameless. And she's a hoot. She's got a new show coming up too, or is doing one. Then there was Emily Rossum, the co-star of Shameless, who was difficult to work with, but she was fabulous. She was fabulous on the screen. You adore John Goodman. He made that show. Well, yeah, of course. He's a movie star, so he's going to be something special. But I think Roseanne has blossomed into certainly a very good politically incorrect comedian. And if she's going to do this show with Michael Richards from Seinfeld, a politically incorrect sitcom, I'm in, because I'm a big Michael Richards fan. He got blacklisted for a while, but he rose above it. Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld stood by him, and I was happy to see that. Tina Winston. Hello. Hi, Tina. I think you've been here before. I'm trying to think of the Winston Cigarettes slogan. Winston's taste good like a cigarette should. I think that was it, right? The Marlboro Man died of cancer. Did you know that? Where are you from, Tina? You've told me before, probably. I have fibromyalgia also, and gabapentin helps my sac. I know how to say this. Karen's talked about it too. Sciatic nerve, yes, problem, but not so much for fibromyalgia. Yeah. Karen gets relief from these various drugs, but not a lot. She got a little relief from from vaping marijuana, but not a lot. And she, I guess she took the gummies at one point, but you don't want anything that's going to make you unsteady going downstairs. And already she's has to be very careful with her unsteadiness. She's fallen several times. So we really want to get this surgery. I said, you should have just booked it, should have just booked it. Yes, we know Joe Chavez. We know him. Did you get a new camera? This is it. This is the 1K camera. Where's my so what we did, we debuted it Saturday night. And here it is. We debuted it Saturday night. And there's 77 watching. Please hit the subscribe button, the like button, and the notification bell, so you'll know when we pop on and pop off or put up a pre-recorded video. In terms of worldwide ramblings, we do this usually on Wednesday night and Saturday nights at 10 p.m. East Coast time. There's a thanks button there. If you can hit it for any amount, I would appreciate that. Or the Cash App, which is lowercase letters, my handle on Cash App, Media Guy 56. Media Guy 56. Todd Bradshaw. You're so funny, Todd from Tennessee. Todd Bradshaw hit the Cash App for $25 for English leather. Can you still find it? I know it wasn't that long ago you could. You can definitely still find the Old Spice. And, I like Old Spice. I like not their deodorant. It doesn't work. Maybe the higher end stuff they have now. I haven't tried that. But I was an English leather guy and an Old Spice guy back in the day. And just it was kind of both of those scents stayed on you for a while, whereas some of these things don't. But if I spray peppermint oil right here, 2 days from now, if I say I covered up during my shower or whatever, you'll still smell that peppermint oil. It never goes away. Teresa Panel, also known as, what did I say before? Is your first name? Tia Panel sent you $5 for thanks for the live. Thank you so much. It all helps. Look at that right there. And Elaine Peterson. Must have been tonight. $17 on the Cash App. I appreciate that so much, folks. It helps me tremendously. I'm just trying to pay my bills here, not making money hand over fist. I would never make the top 1,000 creators in terms of how much they make doing their channel. I'm a small fish in a very big pond, but I have a very loyal audience. And you get a very loyal audience by slowly building a rapport. And I think people want positive things, The Pastor Bob Joyce story, for the most part, is a very uplifting, positive story. But it does have some twists and turns and what have you. We've told those stories. The videos are here. And these days, if something new comes, since I tell a chronological story, if something new comes out, I'll definitely pass that on to you. But we love to share uplifting stories from Household of Faith, people that have visited there, take pictures, write me a nice email like almost like you're writing like the way I'm going to say it on air. If I feel there's something that shouldn't be there, I won't put it on. If you don't want something on, let me know about it, so I'll be sure not to say it when I read the email. But people love that. Um, and most people know that I'm a huge admirer of Pastor Bob Joyce. I respect what he does. Um, I'm sorry that some people take offense at the Elvis part of this. I mean, God, when did I come to this? By the time I got here, there were already a dozen people doing it, and now there's all the Bob Joyce Elvis Facebook groups and what have you. You know, it's just the way it is. I'm sorry, some people are offended by it. When I'm offended by something, I say, well, I'm not watching this. I'm not watching this guy. But I mean, for anybody out there that's going to have a YouTube channel, um, only certain people can get away with being angry a lot, angry a lot, and successful. If you want to see the master of it on YouTube, it's Michael Savage. Michael Savage is a broadcast legend. Uh, I used to listen to him on the radio, and I would cringe sometimes because he was rude to callers, and don't say something like "Thank you for taking my call." He's already stated he doesn't want people to waste his time with them saying that. But he would do opening monologues like Rush would do, of course, and Sean Hannity does, and he could be spellbinding. He'd cover topics they wouldn't. One day he'd come on and he just wanted to talk about death, and he was spellbinding, you know. So he's spellbinding here on YouTube. And I don't know if he's still on Newsmax. I know he was banned in the UK. I don't know. There's a story you can find. Why was Michael Savage banned in the UK? His books can't be sold there, and he is not physically allowed to go to the UK. Anyway, thank you, Todd Bradshaw, so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, Teresa Panel, and thank you, Elaine Peterson. There's been others in recent shows as well that have hit the Cash App, and I appreciate that so much. I'm going down my list here. Tammy Griffin from West Tennessee. Yes, yes, yes. John Udison. And of course, Miss Susan Carter. And I know Neo has, I think, the thanks button and what have you, and many, many others. And I appreciate that so, so much. It just, I've told the story before. It just helps me. It just helps me um, meet the ever. When you retire, you really, you don't know how much you're really going to need in your retirement. A lot of people retire, and I did my work out there for 50 years, often working two jobs or a lot of overtime. I was a peace officer, and then I had a radio gig on the weekends. Plus, I did fill-ins when I could do them on the radio stations, and all that. I put in my time. I started working in 1972. But by 1973, I had I had two jobs. I would work 10 a.m. to 4:30 at McDonald's, and then I would cross the street, go to the mall for a little while, and then by 6 p.m. I had my black pants, white shirt, black bow tie, and gold jacket with the black collar on, and I was an usher at the Plaza Theater, like four nights a week from 6 to 10. That's where I saw the X-rated Clockwork Orange, Stanley Kubrick, talking about the UK, Stanley Kubrick for the, I saw Clockwork Orange, and it was rated X, and I'm 16 years old. And I'm forced every night to stand in the back of that theater, make sure nobody's smoking, stuff like that, and I saw that film, I don't know, 60, 70 times. and it screwed me up to this day. Jane Justice hits the thanks button for $5. Oh, Stanley Kubrick. And then Eyes Wide Shut. I had a choice whether to see Eyes Wide Shut with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, the last thing they ever did together. And I chose to watch that. I did. It's funny, Georgia Peach, the bottom of it's, I don't know if you see that on the screen, but the ones are going, they're flashing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That's really weird. Georgia Peach, appreciate you so much. She hits the thanks button for $5. Thank you. Jane Justice, who has done this before, including with Cash App. Thank you each for $5. $5 is very important. It all adds up. $1.99 adds up. I'm very appreciative of that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're going to be wrapping up soon, but I just want to thank everybody, both via Cash App and those of that are simply watching. It's not in everybody's budget, or you have done it recently, or what have you. I welcome everybody here. We just ask that you be respectful. I don't go on other people's channels and disrespect them. I don't do videos where I try to character assassinate someone that they don't even know. I don't do that. I just ask the same respect. If you are about kindness, be kind to me. Not everybody's going to agree with the opinions that you do on a channel, but you don't have to be mean-spirited about it. Once I see that someone doesn't have a sense of humor, is not liking me, and is not noticing all the positive stuff I've said, and including some stuff that would help them, once I see it's not being well received, I'm done. I'm done. I have no axe to grind, And we're very fortunate here in that 95 to 98% of the stuff is positive. Many of you are very smart people here. You're not all old. And I appreciate you very, very much. I'm not running a scam here. If I were running a scam, I'd be doing a better job of it, I think. I'm not a scam artist. I'm just someone who discovered the Bob Joyce story in 2018. Most of the times when you hear about this kind of a story, someone faked his death, you're lucky to find 5 things that you could point to. You run out of material in the first video. But when you start to find one thing, talk about that fixed song, one thing leads to another, then somebody tells me, oh, well, there's 2 Bob Joyces, you should look into that. And I say to myself, oh, boy, here comes the tinfoil hat crowd. I shouldn't have gotten involved with this. And then I do the research. I do my due diligence. I let my my initial opinion go, and I study it. And my God, it was true. It was true. I quickly found 2 different men, in my humble opinion. I speak of possibilities. I could be wrong about the whole thing. So there you go. I could say more, but I would just be. I don't want to put fuel on the fire. I get it. It just leads to no matter how nice I'm going to be, I'm branded now. Marty Greco, there you are. I've been waiting for you to come on. Here's Marty Greco. How are you? You've been working hard, right? You're doing better than I deserve. Someone asked you that? How the heck are you? Asked Ted Richards. Yes. Isn't that a great line when you think about it, Marty Greco? It's the line I got from the financial guy. Oh, come on. This scares me when this happens. Dave Ramsey. Oh, boy. Ay. Dave Ramsey. Because he doesn't mind. Callers are constantly. Michael Savage would say, stop asking me how I am. Get to your point. But Dave Ramsey doesn't do that. He just keeps saying the same thing. I'm better than I deserve. And that is so appropriate because of the grace of Jesus Christ, better than I deserve. Absolutely. You have been working hard. Yeah. Fully recovered now from that really bad case of bronchitis. And I think it was kind of leading to pneumonia, wasn't it? Yeah. Nancy DeMarco had pneumonia. She had pneumonia. I think she's doing okay now. So there you go. Welcome, welcome, welcome. There's 82 watching right now, 69 likes. Please hit the like button and don't forget the notification bell. The notification bell. So thank you for those that have hit the thanks button. Still time, and the Cash App, which you have to load from the Google App Store and link your checking account to it. I use it to pay a significant bill, and that's where every year I go to my tax woman and I say anything that was given to me on Cash App is a tip, a taxable tip. I don't know if the no tax on tips, if that actually happens, that President Trump wants to enact. I don't think that includes my tips. I'm not a waitress or a server or something like that. So I think my tips would still be taxed. But it came out okay. I thought, oh boy, what am I facing this year? But my income is the real truth is, if we're gonna tell the truth, is my income is so low that I'm in a fairly good bracket. So I didn't have to pay back all my tips because I made all this money. I know people that come on here and get 500,000 views, 250,000 views. They're making a lot more money than I am. I'm never going to make that. I'm never going to make that, And I didn't know you could ask for a coffee. I wouldn't ask for a coffee since I've never had a cup in my life. I didn't know you could ask for a coffee. I guess I knew about membership. I have no plans in asking for membership, and someone that does, I have no problem with them doing it. What else can you ask for? um, there was other people that talked about other things, GoFundMe pages and stuff for Benton. Well, no, that won't work because I don't know that I can do that, because once Karen finally has this surgery, I don't know the date yet. Um, besides the first month of recovery, there's going to be 3 months where she's not supposed to lift anything heavy. So I got to be around. And he's not always there. He's either sleeping or doing something and what have you. So I got to be around to make sure she doesn't lift heavy stuff. Now I can't lift heavy stuff either. That's the funny part of it. I was told that when they put my defibrillator in, because I have cardiomyopathy. It's never gone off. My heart is functioning quite well, better than I deserve, that's for sure. Because Camzyos is a great drug, and so I have never had any real problems. I'm very, very blessed. I'm very, very blessed. So if you hate me, if you think I'm a scam artist, I'm sorry. Most people know my heart here, and they know that's not true. These are not gullible people. They're great people that love Pastor Bob Joyce. They're entitled to their opinions. And I don't do much of the early Elvis story because it's well over 40 years old now. I noticed that if I do a standalone Elvis topic, they know that I'm not the expert. Other people are. I'm not going to show that much roll in video of Elvis. Usually someone has put a video up, and I'm not going to I would play a fair use excerpt if I thought it was something good, but I'm not obviously going to play the whole video. I know what the rules are, so I have nothing against anybody, and wish them the best success. I guess camaraderie between YouTube programmers is kind of rare. And so that's why everybody seems to stay to themselves. I've had very little contact. I don't know who Mike Stone is. I've had contact with Donald Stone. we've talked back and forth a few times. I think maybe on Facebook Messenger. But other than that, he does his thing. I do mine. I'm not worried about what he's doing, and what have you. And, someone told me there's a channel that they claim they're live when they're not. And a lot of the material they're using seems to be stuff that I say. I'm okay with it. I don't care. I don't care. It's all right. It's a big audience out there, and um, you know it's very important that the people like the host that they're watching. I don't want to be angry all the time. I don't want to be trying to force my opinions on anybody. I speak of possibilities. I could be wrong. I don't berate you if you have a different opinion. Um, you know, I'm not a Bob Joyce protector, but I'm a Bob Joyce lifter upper because I think he's such a wonderful man. And as I say in the very first video, I said Pastor Bob had an exception to what I was saying, some of it or all of it. All he had to do is video message me and let me know. As far as I know, I am welcome at Household of Faith, and as soon as I can do that, I will. And they know anything they want to promote, they can let me know in an email. They can go through Gene Ho if they want to, and I will be more than happy to do that. More than happy to do that. Some wonderful people there. Many of them watch me, and I'm very honored by that, even if they keep it on the down low that they watch me. So I would love to go to George Magazine Live 2025. If it's God's will, if it works out that way, um, terrific. Budget is real tight. I'll let you know if I'm going to go. And if you want to help me at that time, um, then, but I just don't know yet. I just don't know yet.